Hey guys, so today's video is going to be another real talk. This one is going to be about how to move on. You can kind of put this towards relationships, or whether it's a death from losing somebody, just any type of loss. Not easier ways, but ways to help you somewhat move on. Now, obviously this is going to be quite personal because I'm going to share with you guys more information about my personal life, a really bad relationship that I've been in. Well, it wasn't bad, but it didn't make any sense. But yeah, so I'm just going to throw in my little who's and ever's in there. So for this one, actually, I did not have a who, what, where, when, why, and how. So this is kind of just, I'm going to wing it a little bit. So yeah. The first bullet point that I have down here on my notepad is to give it time. It will get better. And I know that's so cliche, but it is like the serious truth, because 2 years ago when I was it 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago when I was in the psychiatric hospital for whatever happened to me, that was my lowest point in life. I totally broke down. I didn't know who I was. I felt so crappy and so shitty about myself. Like, what's wrong with me? Anxiety hit, depression hit, suicidal thoughts hit. I wanted to kill myself, which is why I told somebody. I told my mom, and we ended up getting me into a safer environment. So that's what happened with that. It was due to some information I found out about someone I was in a relationship with. Don't get it twisted. This is not about a boy. So save those comments for someone who cares. And yeah, so anyway, but point is, 2 years ago, I never thought that I would be where I am today. And it took some time for me to finally, I'd like to say, cut the fat. I don't know why, but it's like just cutting out all the stress in your life. And I guess I say cut the fat because I know that when I get into relationships or start talking to somebody or whatever, and then it kind of ends bad, I eat my feelings. So I gain a lot of weight. So I think once I cut them out, they're the fat. And then I kind of get back on track to where I'm comfortable with my body, with myself, being alone and stuff like that. So that is why I say cut the fat. So anyway, it took me a while to cut the fat. And when I did, at first, I'm not gonna lie, like, I just still kind of felt incomplete because my heart is still with that person. I'm still madly in love with them, but I just need to start realizing that it's really just, it's not working out right now, and it may never work out. So until it's at a point where things are the way you want them to be, the way that they should be, the way it's normal for them to be, you just kind of have to let it go, and you have to do you. You have to be on your own. Like I mentioned in the last real talk, it really is all about being selfish, and it's all about you. So once you start focusing on yourself, everything else should fall into place. And if it doesn't, then there are much more deep-rooted issues than that I just don't know about. So I'm gonna have to talk to somebody professional. But yeah. So the second bullet point was be selfish. You know, like, as much as you say that it's never going to get better, it's always going to hurt, I'm never going to get better, it's, you know, it's just, the more you stick with that negative thought, the more true it kind of becomes. So I told myself it was never going to get better. You know why it was never going to get better? Because I was still trying so hard to make something work that was just, it wasn't in the cards for me. It wasn't in the cards for us. So once I kind of let that go, everything started happening. Like, everything positive started happening to me. And I can honestly say that I've never been this happy by myself before. And while I still feel like I want to be in a relationship, or I would love things to be the way that I had planned them to be, they're not. And so that's just not the plan. Now, I don't want to bring God into it, but I mean, my mom is a very religious, spiritual person. I'm not so much. I do have faith. I do believe in God. But yeah, I'm not even going to turn this into a whole religion thing. But basically, it's just, it wasn't God's plan. And I can only really chalk it up to that because that's just kind of how I grew up. If something didn't work out the right way or the way you wanted it to, it's because it wasn't God's plan for you. And I'm sure there are a bunch of people who can relate to that, whether you go to church every Sunday or not. So, yeah, basically just the only way I know how to move on is you really have to take a step back and become a third party in the situation. And like I'm saying, for example, it's my personal situation. I had to take a step back and think like, well, if I had a friend who was in my position and going through what I was going through, like what do I see that's wrong with it? And once I started finding out all the shit that was wrong, I started realizing like I really have to get rid of this person. I can't, as much as you love somebody, you should never hurt the way that I was hurting. Like, that's what I noticed. I was like, I should not be hurting this way. I should not be crying every single night. I should be able to see this person, talk to them, request slight things and have them done. It shouldn't be like fucking pulling teeth for the most simple fucking tasks. And that's what it was. It was just too much fucking work. And I was doing it all by myself. And I am one fucking person, okay? I couldn't handle it. I couldn't do all of that to try to have this wonderful relationship while handling my depression and anxiety. And then I thought, oh, well, since I'm having all this anxiety and depression because of our situation with the relationship, that's what I need to fix, and then everything else will fall into place. I was totally in the wrong state of mind because I needed to fix me, aka this depression and anxiety, before a relationship could even fall into place. Once I realized that once the anxiety and depression wasn't so much fixed, but it was under better control, the relationship became more and more clear that it wasn't supposed to be. Now, I don't know what the future holds, but I'm not sitting here counting on that relationship to be anywhere in my future, which is why my plans have become about me. So I'm doing cosmetology school. I start next month. Well, I'm thinking January is already over. Start in March. And I should be done with that in September. I'm going to take extra hours as well. So by the time all of that is finished, I should be done around this time next year. After that, I don't know what's next for me, but I do know that I want to spend at least a year working somewhere in this makeup and hair industry in New York, where I live, so that I can save up enough money to go ahead and move to LA and get away from all of it, because I'm just so sick and tired of New York. I'm sick of the people in New York. I've mentioned this plenty of times before in past videos. It's just not working for me. I need a change of scenery. I want to go someplace where I can start fresh and truly be happy in a different surroundings, and breaking out of my shell. So that's how I've moved on. I'm not completely over this person, because you don't just fall out of love with somebody. You just don't. But I have realized that I need to have as much love for myself as I have for him. And once that happens, everything is going to be all good. So long story short, how to move on in life, you have to put yourself first and start thinking about you. As much as you want to factor in other people, it's not going to work out that way, because that's just not how it's supposed to be. You have to get you in order, because when stuff doesn't work out with that other person, you're going to be left with absolutely nothing. And that's why I say you work on yourself first. You have your plans for you. And if someone else can be factored into that later on in life, then by all means, go ahead and do what you feel is necessary. But don't count on it always including them. So yes, that is my rant for this week's second Real Talk, and next week's Real Talk will be filmed in a much better quality. It will be edited. It will not be 10 minutes long, and yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any other further questions or comments or anything, then please feel free to leave them down below. I love doing these Real Talks, and I love getting feedback from you guys. It really means a lot to me. So yes, and on my last Real Talk, if you haven't seen it, I will have it linked in the description bar below, but I was asked to kind of go further into detail with how I deal with or dealt with depression and anxiety, and I will be glad to do that. So if it's not up, I don't know, next week, then maybe the following week after that. So yeah, I guess that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.